so easily, and Shakur is just not on Tank's level. Why is Tank worried about how much money this fight generates so bad? But every other fight, Tank didn't give a damn.
Who have Shakur? What have Shakur done? What have he done in the sport? He haven't done nothing. The young one is looking more better than him.
Shakur reacts to Gervonta Davis' question about what he has done in the sport of boxing. As Shakur Stevenson, that's all I could do, gang. Laugh at this goofy shit. I mean, what has he done? Tank not lying though. Tank wants to fight.
Gervonta Davis recently fired back at Shakur Stevenson during a press conference, dismissing the idea that Stevenson is a serious challenger. Davis questioned Stevenson's accomplishments, stating, "What has he done? He hasn't done anything," and criticized his defensive style, arguing that it lacks the offensive firepower needed to win in boxing. Davis even suggested younger fighters like Keyshawn Davis display better skills than Stevenson. During a press conference to promote his upcoming fight against Lamont Roach Jr., Gervonta Davis addressed speculation about a potential showdown with Shakur Stevenson. When asked if he planned to fight Stevenson, Davis replied, "I never said that," emphasizing that he is not explicitly committed to such a matchup. He stressed that his focus remains on his current opponents and career trajectory, dismissing repeated mentions of Stevenson as unnecessary distractions. Davis seemed frustrated by the insistence on a fight with Stevenson, highlighting that it's not up to him alone to make such a bout happen. Instead, he suggested that boxing fans and media often push narratives that may not align with fighters' immediate priorities or plans. This response came amid ongoing tension between the two camps, as Stevenson has publicly expressed confidence in a future clash, framing it as inevitable. Davis's remarks further underscored his belief that Stevenson's defensive style and lack of offensive output might not make for an exciting fight.
Steven Espinoza said Shakur turned down a one-fight deal to fight you because he wanted a multi-fight deal. What's your thoughts on that?
It's not worth that. It's not worth it. It's not even worth it.
Anyways,
you gotta fight somewhere else and prove yourself. Then, like, you feel me? You know how they got UFC and like the underground shit. You gotta fight the underground shit. And then get it.
So you gotta go to the G League.
Do you have an idea what your walkout fee might be?
Gervonta Davis is currently facing scrutiny regarding his readiness to fight Shakur Stevenson. His trainer, Calvin Ford, hinted that Davis might not yet be prepared to face Stevenson, who is considered one of the most defensively skilled boxers in the sport. This acknowledgement has fueled debates about whether Davis is avoiding the matchup due to Stevenson's technical prowess, which some argue surpasses that of other elite boxers. Stevenson's unique defensive style, often linked to historical trends of African-American fighters excelling in this area, adds a layer of complexity to this potential fight. Additionally, Davis has faced challenges maintaining his weight, particularly as he competes in lighter divisions. He's publicly stated that his optimal fighting weight is around 135 pounds and has expressed discomfort with moving up to higher weight classes. Maintaining discipline with diet and conditioning will be crucial if he is to remain competitive at lightweight, especially with the demands of a potential Stevenson fight. Another point of contention is financial motivation. Davis has dismissed the fight with Stevenson, claiming it does not offer enough monetary incentive. This has led to accusations that Davis might be prioritizing lucrative matchups over challenging himself against top-tier fighters like Stevenson.
So Gervonta Tank Davis has ducked Shakur Stevenson, my friends. The man y'all call so trash. He's such a runner. He doesn't even deserve to be next to Tank. Gervonta Tank Davis isn't going to fight him. Why? Because he's a duck. I said this multiple times. Tank isn't ready for this fight at this point in his career. Y'all didn't listen to me. Let's listen to Calvin Ford, Gervonta Tank Davis head trainer.
They keep saying Shakur is the biggest fighter. No, he's not. You understand what I'm saying? Because in history, going back over that Floyd days, when he fought an African American fighter, the money don't generate. We're just saying two of the hottest fighters in the world fought against each other. They couldn't even outdo Tank.
While Gervonta Davis, a former champion in 3 divisions, has secured 5 world titles and holds the number 10 spot on ESPN's pound-for-pound rankings. Additionally, he is ranked as the number 3 lightweight in ESPN's divisional standings. Davis captured the IBF Junior Lightweight Championship in 2017 by defeating Jose Pedraza. The following year, he claimed the WBA Junior Lightweight title by overcoming Jesus Cuellar. In 2019, Davis moved up a weight class to compete for the WBA Lightweight welterweight title, defeating Yuriorkis Gamboa by TKO. Later, in 2021, Davis earned the WBA junior welterweight title with a unanimous decision victory over Isaac Cruz. He successfully defended that title on June 15th in a bout against Frank Martin. Recently, Gervonta Davis's coach addressed the growing speculation about a potential fight between Davis and Shakur Stevenson, shedding light on why the bout may not be feasible at the moment. According to Davis's team, weight and timing are key barriers preventing the matchup from materializing right now. Davis, who has historically competed across multiple divisions, is currently at 130 pounds, a weight class below the lightweight division where Stevenson is making his mark. Another factor raised by the coach is timing. Davis recently defended his title and has other commitments that would make negotiating and preparing for a fight with Stevenson challenging in the near future. Additionally, the coach argued that Stevenson, despite his technical brilliance, has not yet built the kind of resume or drawing power that would make this fight a blockbuster event. He explained, "The timing has to be right, and both fighters need to bring something to the table." Ultimately, the coach maintained that Davis is not avoiding Stevenson, but rather prioritizing his career trajectory and physical condition. While fans may be eager for the showdown, the coach's comments suggest that the fight would require not just careful planning, but also the right circumstances to ensure it happens at the peak of both fighters' careers.
I'm sorry to break the news. Your guys, Tank Davis, your savior, is going back to fighting flat-footed Mexicans who have no defensive responsibility. And he says African-American fighters don't sell. Your last fight was against Frank Martin, who's black. So now being black matters, but then it didn't. Just say it. You're not fucking ready for Shakur. Say it. Calvin Ford has said this on several different occasions. Shakur is too hard. We're kind of not ready for Shakur. We're not looking at Shakur.
Gervonta Davis has recently turned his attention to Shakur Stevenson, sparking debates in the boxing world by openly questioning Stevenson's fighting ability and style. Known for his confidence and bold personality, Davis hasn't shied away from expressing his opinions about Stevenson, who is regarded as one of the most technically gifted fighters in boxing today. Davis has critiqued Stevenson's boxing approach, labeling it as overly cautious and less entertaining for fans. While Stevenson is celebrated for his exceptional defense, precise counterpunching, and tactical brilliance, Davis argues that his style lacks the aggression and explosiveness needed to dominate in the lightweight division. Davis, who is famed for his knockout power and crowd-pleasing performances, often emphasizes his own ability to deliver action-packed fights and decisive finishes. This verbal sparring has added fuel to a potential super fight between the two. Stevenson, undefeated and a two-weight world champion, recently made a statement with a dominant victory in his lightweight debut, further solidifying his reputation as a top contender in the division. Davis, meanwhile, has been riding high on his success as a proven champion across 3 weight classes, making a matchup between them a tantalizing prospect for boxing fans. Critics and fans alike have weighed in on the exchange, with many pointing out the contrasting styles that would make this clash so compelling. While Davis relies on his power and aggression to dismantle opponents, Stevenson's calm, calculated approach could present a unique challenge. Both fighters are undefeated, which only heightens the stakes and intrigue of such a fight. Whether this rivalry will lead to an actual bout remains to be seen, but Davis's call-out has certainly stirred the pot, building anticipation for what could become one of the biggest showdowns in boxing history.
If Tank could just beat him so easily, and Shakur is just not on Tank's level, why is Tank worried about how much money this fight generates so bad? But every other fight, Tank didn't give a damn. He laced up with anybody. If Shakur is such a trash can who only runs, has no chin, has no power, why isn't the fight happening? Why aren't the deals signed? Why aren't the contracts on the table? Because Gervonta Tank Davis knows he can't beat him, and he will not beat him. What's going to happen is Tank is going to make as much money and build as much hype around his name before he steps in there with Shakur and takes that first loss of his career. If Tank wants to fight somebody who's not black, who are you going to fight that's going to generate more money? T.O.'s not.
Gervonta Davis recently made waves during an interview when he appeared visibly offended after the host praised Shakur Stevenson. The comments about Stevenson's skill set seemed to trigger Davis, who dismissed the accolades as overhyped. Davis questioned why so many people were quick to applaud Stevenson, asserting that while Stevenson may have technical skills, he doesn't see him as extraordinary. "He's just okay," Davis said bluntly, showing little regard for the two-division champion's polished reputation. Davis's skepticism about Stevenson's abilities centers on a question that has often been asked about defensive fighters. What is he going to do once he gets hit? The implication here is clear. Davis doubts Stevenson's ability to handle the kind of punishing blows he delivers. Known for his knockout power and aggressive style, Davis thrives in high-pressure moments, where his opponent's durability and resilience are put to the ultimate test. He seems to believe that Stevenson's defensive-first strategy would crumble under the weight of his relentless offense. This sharp critique has sparked a heated conversation among boxing fans and analysts. Many believe that Davis's remarks reflect not just confidence, but also a psychological play to unnerve Stevenson. Others argue that Davis is underestimating Stevenson's composure, ring IQ, and ability to adapt to different styles. Stevenson has shown an uncanny ability to avoid danger while dominating his opponents with precision and strategy, traits that have earned him accolades as one of the sport's most skilled practitioners. As the tension between Davis and Stevenson grows, so does the public demand for them to face off in the ring. A potential fight would be a clash of opposites, Davis's power and aggression against Stevenson's finesse and technique. Davis's latest comments only add fuel to a rivalry that could define the lightweight division for years.
Some of your 135 contemporaries have a lot to say these days. Shakur Stevenson, well, of course, he's now 135 after all that stuff, and then Devin Haney.
Right, so why people even talk like he the best at, he didn't even fight at 135 yet.
Right.
He didn't even have power at 126, 30, or none of that.
He is good.
Okay. How can you, all that's just okay. How can you stop people that can actually hit? No matter all that boxing, you gonna get hit. What you gonna do when you get hit?
Gervonta Davis, never one to hold back, recently stirred up more controversy by dismissing Shakur Stevenson's reputation and even suggesting that Keyshawn Davis, Stevenson's close friend and fellow rising star, looks more impressive in the ring. The comments came in response to a question about whether Gervonta was avoiding a fight with Stevenson. Far from being defensive, Davis turned the tables, downplaying Stevenson's accomplishments and suggesting that the hype surrounding him is unwarranted. Keyshawn looks better than Shakur, Davis remarked, a statement bound to ruffle feathers given Stevenson's status as a two-division world champion and one of the most skilled technicians in boxing today. Davis's assertion reflects his belief that Stevenson hasn't proven himself on the same level, particularly in terms of facing elite competition or delivering highlight reel performances. He hasn't done nothing yet, Davis added, doubling down on his critique and making it clear he isn't intimidated by Stevenson's reputation. These comments are likely to intensify the already growing rivalry between Davis and Stevenson. Keyshawn Davis, who has openly supported Stevenson in public exchanges, might find himself pulled into the crossfire as the verbal battle escalates. Gervonta's suggestion that Keyshawn is more impressive could be a subtle jab at Stevenson's style, which some critics view as overly cautious compared to Keyshawn's more aggressive, entertaining approach. The debate over Gervonta's comments has polarized fans and analysts. Supporters of Davis see this as another example of his confidence and ability to back up his words in the ring. Meanwhile, Stevenson's advocates argue that his dominant performances and technical skills speak for themselves. Whether or not these remarks lead to a showdown, Gervonta has ensured that the rivalry with Shakur remains one of the most talked about topics in boxing today.
Can we see you with Shakur before you go?
For what? Like, who have Shakur? What have Shakur done? What have he done in the sport? He haven't done nothing. The young one is looking more better than him. The Keyshawn. Keyshawn looking way more better than this nigga. So I keep screaming this nigga name, he haven't done nothing. Keyshawn haven't even done nothing.
So what do you say to those who say that he might be afraid?
His name for?
So what do you say to those who might?
Gervonta Davis recently stirred up controversy with his remarks about Shakur Stevenson, questioning what Stevenson has contributed to the sport of boxing. Davis's comments have sparked backlash from fans and critics alike, many of whom argue that Davis himself has not done enough for the sport to justify such statements. Critics claim that Davis, while undeniably talented and a proven champion across multiple weight classes, has largely focused on lucrative fights, rather than building a lasting legacy or taking on the toughest opponents available. The backlash centers on the perception that Davis prioritizes financial gain over challenges that could solidify his place among boxing's all-time greats. While Davis has achieved significant success, holding titles in 3 divisions and delivering highlight reel knockouts, his critics argue that many of his opponents were carefully selected for their marketability rather than their competitiveness. This, they claim, diminishes his right to question Stevenson, who is widely praised for his technical skills and willingness to take on rising contenders.
All right, last weekend we got the Gervonta Davis Lamont Roach press conference, And things got a little spicy towards the end. The reporters started asking him about Shakur Stevenson, and this was his response. What has he done in the sport? That's crazy, bro. Especially coming from Tank, knowing you don't fight for legacy, you don't fight for belts, you strictly fight for money. So what have you done for the sport? You get what I'm saying? I know Shakur is a 3-division champ. I think Gervonta got a belt at 30. I think he got a belt from Liam Walsh at 30, maybe. And then he got one at 35, and I know he beat Barrios at 140.
Supporters of Stevenson point out that he is one of the most talented boxers of his generation, with a fighting style that blends defensive mastery and pinpoint accuracy. They argue that Stevenson is steadily making his mark on the sport by climbing the ranks, dominating opponents, and showcasing a high boxing IQ. Stevenson, a 2-division world champion, recently entered the lightweight division with a statement-making win, further proving his worth as a serious contender. Many believe his focus on skill and discipline contrasts with Davis's perceived emphasis on fame and financial success. The debate highlights a broader divide in boxing between those who prioritize legacy and those who prioritize marketability. Critics of Davis argue that his comments reflect a lack of respect for Stevenson's accomplishments and the sport itself. Meanwhile, Davis's defenders counter that his knockout power and ability to draw large audiences have done plenty to elevate boxing's popularity. Ultimately, the controversy underscores the tension between two of boxing's brightest stars. Both Davis and Stevenson bring unique qualities to the ring, and the growing rivalry between them is generating excitement among fans. Whether or not Davis and Stevenson eventually face off, the public discussion around their contrasting styles and approaches ensures that both fighters remain central to boxing's future.
The 3-divisional champ, I don't know if the belts was on the line those fights, but man, this just looks like ducking to me, bro. Like, is Tank ducking this kid, or is he just trying to add some fuel to the, to the fight to get people to tune in? But it looks like he's ducking. Look at his face. Then not too short after this, he said Keyshawn looks better than him, which I don't disagree. Keyshawn looked insanely good his last fight. Like, I don't know what happened. His last fight, he got that dude out of there in 2 rounds. Like, that dude that gave Richard Hitchinson hell. But I don't know, man. Tank. What y'all think?
The debate surrounding Gervonta Davis and Shakur Stevenson continues to intensify as fans and analysts compare their careers and accomplishments. Many argue that Stevenson has already achieved more than Davis, both in terms of accolades and his overall contributions to boxing. As a unified champion and an Olympic gold medalist, Stevenson's resume speaks volumes about his skill, discipline, and determination, especially at such a young age. Now competing in his 3rd division, Stevenson's career trajectory suggests he is on a path to becoming one of boxing's all-time greats. Shakur Stevenson's career began with immense promise, winning a silver medal at the 2016 Olympics before turning professional. His amateur pedigree laid a solid foundation for success, and he quickly lived up to the hype, capturing world titles in 2 weight classes. In 2022, Stevenson unified the WBC and WBO super featherweight titles, showcasing his ability to dominate elite opponents. His transition to lightweight has been seamless, with a commanding debut that left no doubt about his capability to excel at a higher weight.
So this is a clear, obvious duck. The whole what did you win, whatever. Shakur has won way more than Tank has won in his career. He's a 3-division unified champion, and he's actually fighting in his 3rd division where Tank isn't. And like I said, he's a unified champion. He's a silver medalist, so he's
In contrast, while Gervonta Davis has undoubtedly achieved significant success, some critics argue that his accomplishments don't measure up to Stevenson's. Davis has held titles in 3 weight classes, but his lack of a unified championship is often cited as a gap in his legacy. Unlike Stevenson, Davis has yet to face the kind of top-tier opposition that solidifies a fighter's standing in the sport. His critics accuse him of cherry-picking opponents to maximize financial gain, rather than pursuing the most challenging fights available. Moreover, Stevenson's Olympic success is a key differentiator between the two fighters. Winning a gold medal is a rare accomplishment in boxing and is often viewed as the ultimate testament to a fighter's skill and dedication. Davis, who did not compete at the Olympics, lacks this accolade, which adds to the perception that Stevenson's career is more accomplished on a broader scale.
Let me just get this right. You're not afraid of Shakur because he can't hurt you, he can't punch, and he's only defense, but you're not gonna fight him. So if Shakur can't hurt you, if Shakur stands no chance, he hasn't done anything, he's some type of bum, but he's one of the biggest money fights you can take.
Another point of comparison is Stevenson's disciplined and technical fighting style versus Davis's explosive power and crowd-pleasing knockouts. While Davis's style has earned him widespread popularity, Stevenson's mastery of boxing fundamentals and ability to outclass opponents has garnered respect from purists who value skill and strategy over brute force. Stevenson's ability to neutralize opponents while taking minimal damage highlights his ring IQ, a quality that many believe will ensure his longevity in the sport. Critics of Davis argue that he should focus on unifying titles or facing fighters like Devin Haney and Vasily Lomachenko to prove his mettle. Meanwhile, Stevenson's willingness to take on high-level opponents demonstrates his commitment to building a lasting legacy, not just financial success. While both fighters have undeniable talent, their career paths reflect differing priorities. Stevenson's resume, highlighted by his unification titles and Olympic success, arguably positions him as the more accomplished fighter at this point. However, Davis's star power and thrilling fights ensure he remains a central figure in boxing. A potential matchup between the two would settle these debates and become one of the sport's most anticipated events.
He's such a bum since he hasn't done anything and he can't hurt you. Just go in there and knock him out. The same way you made this Lamont Roach fight happen so quickly, same way you made Frank Martin, Hector Luis Garcia, all these other guys, Rolly Romero, Isak Cruz happen. Make Shakur happen. He'll take it in a heartbeat. Just go in there, stop him, take your $40-50 million check and just be gone with it. But he knows that won't happen. He knows more than likely Shakur would outpoint him about 9-3, 8-4. You guys.
Shakur Stevenson has fired back at Gervonta Davis after Davis's recent comments questioning Stevenson's impact on the sport of boxing. Responding with a calm yet pointed statement, Stevenson said, "That's all I can do, gang. Laugh at this." His reply comes as Davis continues to criticize Stevenson's style, claiming his fights are boring, that he's overly reliant on defense, and that he hasn't faced truly elite opponents yet. Davis further suggested that Stevenson doesn't exhibit enough offensive skill or power to make him a threat in the ring. Davis's remarks highlight a common critique of Stevenson's boxing style. Known for his defensive mastery and strategic approach, Stevenson rarely engages in high-risk exchanges, instead neutralizing his opponents with precision and control. While this has earned him accolades from boxing purists, critics like Davis argue that Stevenson's fights lack the excitement and drama that fans crave. Davis, renowned for his explosive knockouts and high-action performances, has contrasted his own style as being far more entertaining and impactful for the sport.
Shakur reacts to Gervonta Davis' question about what he has done in the sport of boxing. As Shakur Stevenson, "That's all I could do, gang. Laugh at this goofy shit." I mean, what has he done? Tank not lying though. Tank wants to fight, not run track. And that nigga Shakur Stevenson be running too much. He damn near hasn't done nothing, fought nobody, and he's a boring fighter. Shakur begging for a payday.
Stevenson, however, sees such criticisms as baseless, pointing to his unblemished record and the dominance he's displayed against every opponent he's faced. As a two-division world champion and Olympic silver medalist, Stevenson has proven his talent against credible opponents. His transition to lightweight has only strengthened his case as one of the best fighters in the sport. The tension between Stevenson and Davis underscores the clash of styles and philosophies in boxing. Davis thrives on raw power and aggression, while Stevenson's success lies in his precision and tactical brilliance. Stevenson's response suggests he's unbothered by the noise, confident in his ability to silence his critics in the ring. For fans, the rivalry only adds to the anticipation of a potential showdown. Do you agree with Gervonta Davis's critique of Shakur Stevenson's style as boring, or do you think his technical brilliance proves his greatness?
I didn't think Pitbull eats Shakur. No Diddy. Gotta love the confidence, but someone on his team has to be honest and let him know he ain't ready. Nobody messing with Tank right now. Let's be honest. Nah, but seriously, what has he done? To be honest, all his fights boring, and he doesn't show he has power. I mean, hey, what can you say? The truth hurts. Gervonta be having them in their feelings.
That's it for today's video. Stay tuned until next time.